you see my screen? I guess you can see my screen, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Yes, all good.
Okay, okay, good. That's good. Okay, so again, this is our campus. So again, Norquest College is located in the city of Edmonton, and this is the campus picture that you're seeing. This is our campus in downtown Edmonton. We have another campus which is roughly 80 kilometers from the downtown. I'm just going to focus on this campus because this is where 99% of our international students are studying. Our other campus is predominantly domestic student campus. So and if you will be choosing most of your program, you'll land up in this particular campus, which is in downtown. Okay. Before we go into the programs, I'll give you a lot of overview information about the city, about Edmonton City, the economy, how things are happening in Edmonton. So you have a little bit background information about that. And then I'll talk a little bit more about the program because I think it's very important to know what city you're going, how the economy is, what kind of jobs are there in that city. So that's a very important information. So first of all, the pictures that you're seeing here right now are of course, our city, Edmonton City. So the picture at the top right here, this are downtown Edmonton, and that's exactly where our campus is also. Then this is of course our downtown picture also by the river. We have a river called North Saskatchewan River that goes by Edmonton City, I mean the downtown. And as Edmonton is the capital city, so Edmonton is the capital city of the province of Alberta. So this is the government of Alberta State Legislative Building. That's where the government of Alberta sits. And also we have here a few pictures of the Rocky Mountains. So Alberta is home to Rocky Mountains as well. We have two very popular tourist destinations. The closest to Edmonton City is called Jasper, and the other one is called Banff. So these pictures that you see here are, of course, of the Jasper, which is roughly around 2.5 hours away from Edmonton City. So people who love to go into mountains, do some camping, surfing, and all that, they of course have the opportunity to do that. And also Edmonton is home to Canada's largest mall. We have a big mall in Edmonton City, which is called West Edmonton Mall. It has more than 800 stores. It has a big indoor swimming pool and also have a big, Disney land or something and a very theme park, that kind of thing of recreation where people can go. So it's again a happening place within the Edmonton City. So as you can see here in the city, so city is a big city. So there are 6 big cities in Canada which have more than 1 million population. And Edmonton is one of them. Edmonton has roughly around 1.2 million population. So from a Canadian standard, it's a big city. It's spread out at roughly around 50, 60 kilometers area. So of course, it's a very spread out city. So here in this chart that you're seeing here, that why should you come to Edmonton? What are the reasons? So maybe, the first thing you may be asking yourself, like what is so special about Edmonton City? Why should I choose Edmonton over other cities in Canada like Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, or others? So I think there are 5 big good reasons to choose Edmonton, and we'll go through it one by one. Again, I'm comparing with the Toronto and Vancouver because those are the other 2 big cities. So as you may know, the largest city in Canada is Toronto, then Montreal, then Vancouver, then Calgary, then Edmonton, and then Ottawa. So those are the 6 big cities which have more than 1 million population. But Edmonton stands out because of its affordability. So Edmonton is the most affordable city. So even if you compare Edmonton to our nearest big city, which is Calgary, so Edmonton is more affordable to live, from accommodation and food, even compared to that city. And of course, it's way more affordable than Toronto and Vancouver if you're comparing, because Toronto and Vancouver are considered very expensive cities from a Canadian standard. So I think that's one big advantage. So because a lot of students want to come to a big city because there are more job opportunities, of course, and they want to spend less money because in a big city, traditionally, your expenditure goes up, but that's not the case with Edmonton. So that's one big benefit, that you're in a big city, but you're spending like you're in a small city. So that's the first benefit of coming to Edmonton. The second benefit, which is the benefit of Alberta as a whole, is less taxes. So in Alberta, we have only 5% tax, which is that Alberta only has GST, which is a federal tax. We don't have a provincial sale tax here in Alberta. So because of that, everything that you're buying in Alberta is more affordable. So as you compare in Ontario and BC, you're paying for the same thing pretty much twice because the tax is twice as what is in Alberta. So a lot of people even sometimes travel to Alberta, or if they somehow come to Alberta, they buy things. They buy like things like alcohol, they buy laptops, sometimes even people buy cars because everything is more affordable in Alberta as compared to any other part of Canada. So that's again a big benefit. So you're paying less for the same thing. The third big benefit is immigration options. So again, if a student is saying, okay, I'm spending $30,000 to $40,000 for a 2-year program in Canada, of course, I want to get a work permit. So you'll get it because you'll be studying in a public college. And the second thing they're saying, okay, I want options to stay back, work opportunities. So, Alberta and Edmonton definitely offers you that. So there are definitely more immigration options in Alberta as compared to Toronto and Vancouver. So even people sometime international students move from Toronto and Vancouver to Edmonton because of more immigration options. Employment wise, Alberta is a very big economy. It's the third largest economy in Canada. So you're not going to Prince Edward Island, which is an isolated island. Alberta is a very big province. It's area wise, it's as big as British Columbia. So they are pretty much same size. Population wise, Alberta's population is like a little bit less than British Columbia. So it's a very similar province to, I would say, size wise, but economy wise, Alberta is a bigger economy than British Columbia, if I'm comparing that. And also income wise, you can earn the maximum money in Alberta because the salaries are a little higher. Why? Because the minimum wage, there's a minimum wage in every province in Canada, and Alberta has the highest minimum wage, which is $15 an hour. So because of that, if you see here comparison, like people make on an average higher money or higher income in Alberta. So if I have to summarize Edmonton, so Edmonton is a place where you can make a lot of money, or pretty much I would say compared to any part of Canada, you'll make more money in Edmonton. You'll spend less money because cost of living is less, taxes are less. There are a lot of job opportunities because the economy is very diverse and big. And of course, there are a lot of immigration options in Edmonton. Now, up on top of that, Edmonton is a very diverse city. So 25% of Edmonton's population is new immigrants, people like me who came to Canada as an immigrant. I was not born in Canada, but I came into Canada and now I'm a Canadian citizen. So a lot of people, pretty much a quarter of a population, 25% is immigrants. And within that immigrant population, Filipinos are the largest immigrant group. Followed by Indians, followed by Africans, followed by Latin Americans. So there are many, of course, other groups of immigrants who have come to Edmonton, but the largest group is Filipinos. So when you come to Edmonton, you'll find a lot of Filipinos in Edmonton. Even we have a Jollibee in Edmonton as well. So you'll feel at home to some extent when you come to Edmonton. Okay, so this is a little bit overview about the Edmonton city. I'm going to talk a little bit about the job because I think the second question a lot of students usually have once they hear about the city, what about the job? What kind of jobs are there in the Edmonton city? Because based on the job, you should pick your program. So it's very important that students should know what kind of jobs are in the market. And I think being a community college, I think the big benefit of studying in a public community college is our programs aligned with our job market. So you will see the reason I'm showing you this, that what kind of jobs are there, because our programs are aligned with the job market. We are not going to offer automobile engineering program in our college. Why? Because there is no job in Edmonton automobile engineering. So we are not going to offer the program where there are not jobs within our region. Okay, that's the way community colleges work in Canada. So I'll go by the sector. So of course, the largest sector is construction. But again, construction is one of the sector which has been contracting the most because of the COVID. There has been a lot of layoffs in that. So construction is not a most happening field. I think right now all over Canada, and I think Edmonton and Alberta is no different. Health is one of the field which is standing out. The majority of the jobs, as you can see here now, are in health. Health is a growing sector. And there are a lot of jobs in health sector in Edmonton city because it's a capital city. There are a lot of, the Head offices of a lot of organizations are in Edmonton, and also a lot of the public, the government related jobs in health are also in the capital city. Also, the second sector is retail. So retail and wholesale sector is the second largest job sector. It's pretty much stable. Even in COVID times, that's a sector which has been less impacted in job losses. The most sector which has been impacted the most is construction and hospitality. So there is a lot of job loss in restaurants, in hotels, like a hospitality sector is the most impacted. So right now, students who are graduating from hospitality, yes, they are finding it really hard to get job because things are not open right now. There are a lot of restrictions. But luckily, we don't have a hospitality program. We have a business program. And a lot of students who graduate from a business program, they are finding jobs in retail and wholesale trade. And you can see here on the right-hand side, the average salary people make. So you can see the business people are around roughly making around $24. Students who graduate from health programs are roughly making around $31 an hour salary. And then, of course, after that, retail is professional and technical services. So that's another big sector where there are a lot of jobs. So this is again mix of engineering jobs to some extent, mix of other jobs and consulting jobs. So it's mix of all those kind of job sectors. Then we have education sector, which is a big sector, then public administration, then manufacturing, and then mining, oil and gas, because we are in Alberta. So Alberta is one of the place, uh, you know, in the province, we produce 80% of Canada's oil and 60 to 70% of natural gas. And Alberta exports oil and gas. So of course, there's going to be bound to have jobs in oil and gas sector in Alberta. And then ICT is basically information computer technology. So that's another sector. And then of course, there are other sectors which makes 33% of the market. So this is the way the jobs are distributed. I think a lot of the students who come to us, international students, they study business program, and they land up finding jobs in retail sector. A lot of students come to us, they study health programs, they land working in health sector. And then a lot of students study with us community study programs, which I'm going to talk about. So those community study programs, some fall under education sector, some fall under professional services, some fall under public administration. So those community study programs spread out on these three sectors, and that's where they find job. And also we have environmental science programs, and a lot of students who graduate from them end up working in technical services, because again, environmental sector comes under that. And now we are going to have very soon information technology program, one of them coming up very soon. So of course, students who graduate will be working in that. So, the reason I'm just connecting our programs with the job sector, because that's how the programs are aligned with what kind of job sectors there are in the Edmonton city. So I hope this gives you a really good understanding of the economy and how programs are related to economy. They are connected to economy of the city. Now, a little bit about the future of Edmonton. So how the future of Edmonton looks like. So Edmonton's population is a growing city. First of all, Edmonton is a very growing city. So the population of Edmonton is increasing by roughly 2% every year, which is a good growth from a Canadian standpoint. If any city's population is growing by 2%, it's pretty good. Edmonton is the second fastest growing city in Canada. So it's a very growing upcoming city, because the cost of living is less, housing are less. People, if they want to buy a house in Vancouver and Toronto, people cannot even dream of buying a house, because they're more than $1 million, which is very difficult for a new immigrants who are having a job. Whereas in Edmonton, a new immigrant can dream to buy a home. So that's why a lot of people are moving to Edmonton, because as immigrants, when people come and move to Canada, they want to buy their own house, and that is possible in Edmonton. And that's the reason why this is a growing city. Now, from a job sector point of view, there are a lot of jobs in the future. So the Edmonton city is projecting for the next 10 years, and they're saying in the next 10 years, there are going to be a lot of jobs in Edmonton in health. There's going to be a lot of jobs in green energy, so like environmental programs. Then there are going to be a lot of jobs in machine learning. There's going to be a lot of jobs as counselor, therapist. And then in business also, there's going to be a lot of jobs in finance and entrepreneurship, people who want to start their own business or the people who want to work in banking sector. So that's where the growth is going to happen. And also just to give you an idea, the most fastest growing companies in Edmonton are mostly in health, digital technologies, and green energy focused. And also, I think Edmonton is one of the city which have a very young population. Usually, if you go to some cities in Canada, there are more, I would say, mature population or senior peoples. Whereas Edmonton, on the reversal, has a very young population, and that's why you'll see when a lot of students who come to Edmonton, they like to take a program like early learning and childcare, child and youth care. Why? Because they're such young people. There are a lot of school going children in the Edmonton city, and they usually are need to be taken care in early learning and childcare and child and youth care. And also, just to give you two more projections of the city. So the city is expected to see a demand of more than 60,000 workers in all occupations. So there's going to be 60,000 more jobs coming in all occupation by 2023. Hopefully, the COVID is not there till 2023. It goes away pretty soon this year. So I think that's the projection based on post-COVID situation. And also the GDP growth of Alberta is 2%, which is the highest as compared to any province in Canada. So the Alberta is the most fastest growing province as compared to other provinces. So this is how promising the future looks like. I'm sure I'm not overloading you with the information, but I'm just trying to show you what the potential of the future lies in Edmonton. Okay. So just to give you a little bit more idea about Norquest College. So Norquest College is one of the publicly funded community college. As I mentioned before, we are a little over 50 years old. So we have long history, but again, our buildings are not 50 years old. We have a very new buildings, as you can see here. I think we had one building which was just 3 years old, and some of our buildings have been renovated. They pretty much look new. So we have a very new and a modern campus. And I think you were seeing some of the videos that was played. So that is, of course, some of our facilities. They were, of course, not able to show the whole campus in the video, but they just took you to some places and showed you. The other unique thing about Norquest College is its diversity. So 57% of our students are born outside of Canada. So I think that's another big advantage, because as I mentioned you before, that 25% of Edmonton city population is new immigrants. So majority of our students are new immigrants, and also indigenous students. So you were also listening to indigenous central people. So they are the native people of Canada. And those are called indigenous people who were in Canada even before the Europeans came to Canada 300-400 years back. So they make more population of ours very diverse. So when you come on campus, you will see there are more than 100 languages spoken on campus. You'll find students from more than 100 countries. So you'll get that, of course, Canadian experience, but on top of that, you'll get that word experience in the classroom. So that's also a unique thing. And this is just a map of Canada if you don't know where Alberta is. So this is the map of Canada, and Alberta is on the western side of Canada. And this is Alberta, and Edmonton is here in the center of Alberta. And we are, of course, the capital city. Okay. Now, just to give you a little bit unique, like what is so special about Norquest College? What is Norquest College known for? So I think the first thing is Norquest College is one of the largest community college in Canada. So we are in Alberta. So we have roughly around 20,000 students who study with us. So there are 2-3 other community colleges, big community colleges in Alberta. There's one in Calgary. So we are a little bit bigger than them in population size, student population size. So because we are one of the biggest community colleges, so within our province, everybody know us. So if you graduate from Norquest College, you don't have to tell people, oh, I graduate from Norquest College. People know us, the employer know us. So you are getting your education from an institution which is well recognized among all the employees. That's the first thing. The second thing is all our programs have applied learning. So we have work integrated learning, so which means every program that you'll do with us has some kind of practicum, has some kind of hands-on learning. So you not only just sit in a class and listen to your teacher, but in each program will give you opportunity to go and work in the field. So for example, if you do health programs, We'll have placement team who will find practicum for you. You'll go and work in a hospital, in a care facility. If you are in a community studies program, for example, in early learning, child and youth care, you are going into a daycare, you're working. If you're in a community support worker, social work, you are going and working in a shelter home. So you're working in different organization. So whatever you're learning in the class, you're actually applying in the work and you're acquiring skills. Because in Canada, the first thing when you go for an interview, they're not going to ask for your education. They're going to ask your experience and your skills. So that's where we focus the most. So we focus those things which matters to the employer, because at the end of the day, you have to find a job. And also we have a very small classroom size, and we have a very high employment rate. So you can see here, it says the graduation rate is roughly around 95%. And the main reason why we have a very high employment rate is three main reasons. One, we offer programs which are in demand. So our programs are linked with the work integrated learning. So we are connecting our student to the employer. So through the practicum, you're going working with the employer. So through the practicum, you're going working with the employer. And again, it's not always happens, but sometimes it happens that if you impress the employer, they may offer you a job. And the third thing is we have a very good career services team. So we, we have a platform where the employers, more than 1,000 employer post jobs, and then our students can go and apply for those jobs through that portal. It's called WillWorks. And then also we have career fairs in which students can give interviews on the campus with the prospective employers. So there are a lot of opportunity in which we are connecting you with the employer. So there are very high chance you can find a job. Of course, nobody can guarantee a job, and especially in COVID situation, there's even less that we can guarantee a job. But we have made a lot of things that will help you to find a job. Okay. And also we have a very high technology being used in our program delivery. So right now, as in some programs, we are not able to send you to the employer to work in some practicums. So we have a virtual, practicum in which you are in a virtual space and you're experiencing the practicum. So the I would say the experience that you were getting, the skill set that you're acquiring are still very robust as you were working in an organization. So we're using a lot of technology to help you to acquire those skills. Okay, so these are some of the very unique things about Norquest College that we are focusing on a lot. Um, and then I'm going to show you the programs that we have, because you're probably patiently waiting to see what programs we have. So I'm going to start with health programs. So we have three kind of programs. One is called entry level certificates, which is called healthcare aid. So this is a 1-year entry level certificate program. Then we have 2-year entry level certificate program. Then we have 2-year diploma programs, and then we have 1-year post diploma certificate programs. So again, the difference is that in the certificate and diploma, any student can apply, whether you're a high school student who have done 12-year high school from Philippines, and then or you have done a degree or a diploma, you can apply. But in post diploma programs, only students with diploma or degree can apply. A high school student cannot apply. Okay, so the programs that you see here are, of course, very popular programs. We have practical nursing programs, we have pharmacy technician, we have interdisciplinary therapy assistant, which is mainly focusing on occupational therapy, physiotherapy, speech therapy, and recreation therapy, and then therapeutic recreation. Now, health programs are in very high demand. So as you know, that right now the programs that you see in fall, which means these are the programs that are offered in September intake. And right now we are in February. So you can see practical nursing is already full for fall. Pharmacy technician is already full for fall. And even therapeutic recreation is full for fall. So right now, if any student wants to apply for nursing, they have to apply for winter. But few programs, we are going to increase more seats. We are going to increase more seats in therapeutic recreation. So there's still possibility, of course, you can apply and maybe get into that program. And then healthcare aid, we still have seats available in fall and winter. And the tuition fee that you're seeing here and here, these are all inclusive price. So this again is the 2-year tuition fee. This includes tuition fee, health insurance, dental insurance, bus pass, non-instructional fee, all those kind of things. The only thing that is not included in this one is the food, accommodation, and books. Those three things are not included. The rest, everything is included. And you pay this money in, of course, a diploma program in 4 semesters. So again, to give a rough idea, you can divide it by 4 and you will pay in 4 separate semesters the money. So of course, I think in all the institution, I would say the most costly program is usually nursing program. And then of course, other programs are less as compared to that. So anyways, you can see of course here, I'm not sure whether you know, but Norquest College has Canada's largest nursing program. So we are not just known in Alberta for our nursing program, but we are known all over Canada for our nursing program, our health career program. And we are one of the very few colleges which accept international student in nursing program. And the good thing for Philippine student is that for Philippine students, they can apply to our nursing program without IELTS, as long as if you have studied 12 years education. So if you have coming from an old high school system that was 10 years, then you have studied 2-year university completion after that. And if you can give us a letter that your medium of instruction was English, and if you come from a new system of 12-year high school, same thing, we need a letter that your medium of instruction was English. So based on that, you can apply to every program in health except pharmacy technician. So pharmacy technician is the only program where you have to write an IELTS, but all other programs, nursing, interdisciplinary therapy, therapeutic recreation, health career, you don't have to write IELTS or any kind of English language exam, and you can apply without that. Okay, so again, that definitely helps to do that. Also, just to give you one note, that usually every college in Canada, they increase their tuition fee by 2 to 3%. So anything that you're seeing here is an estimate. And again, every year they do increase by 2 to 3%. I know that's not too much. It's maybe $500 to $600, but I'm just mentioning it so that you're aware that that does happen in every college in Canada. Okay, and so does happen with us. Okay, and now moving to the next is community studies. Oh, just one thing to mention the program. So all the program that you see here has practicum. So as I mentioned before, that in a health programs, you'll be going and working in a hospital, in a care facility you're doing, but our practicums are unpaid. You don't get paid, but you get the experience. You're working with the best employer. So the experience matters. I think that's what the health program gives you the opportunity to experience that. Now coming to the community studies programs. So we have very popular students are able to secure their sometimes jobs, not always, sometime while they're in the program. So you'll see here some of the programs are very popular. Like for example, I'm going to point some programs. We have program like early learning and childcare. You can see this program is already full for September because this is oversubscribed because there are a lot of job opportunities for students. So right now for early learning, if somebody wants to apply, they have to apply for winter. Child and Youth Care Diploma is another program, which is a new program for us, but it's become very popular and it's already full now, right now for September as well. We have mental health recovery. It's a post-diploma, and addiction recovery is also a post-diploma. It's offered in fall, both of these programs. It's full for spring. And again, this program is mainly for students, post-diploma program for students who have done bachelor's in nursing, diploma in nursing, or any health field like dentistry or pharmacy and all that, and they want to go into mental health or addiction recovery. And even this is open for students who have done bachelor's in psychology, sociology, those kind of backgrounds, they can apply. Then we do have entry-level certificate program, 3 of them. We have community support worker. This is a very high demand program, community support worker, because there are a lot of jobs, entry-level jobs in social work. This community support worker is a laddering program. So if you do this 1-year community support worker, you can go directly into the second year of a settlement studies program, which I'll show you in the next slide. So it's 1+1. You can do 1-year certificate, and then you go directly into the second year of that diploma. You do 1 more year, and then you get a diploma and a certificate if you want that. And educational assistance is another program which is very popular. And again, this is mainly for people who want to work in our school system. So in Canada, usually from kindergarten to grade 6, there are teachers, which is called educational assistant, who are working with special needs children, working on special programs in classroom. So they're called educational assistant. So they are assisting the teachers in the classroom. So this is again another field that if a student really is interested, they can apply. And all the programs that you see here has practicum, some kind of applied learning. So it could be going into an organization, could be a community service learning. So all those kind of practical skills you will acquire in all these programs. Now coming to this, we have disability studies. So this program is already full, but again, we are going to open more seats into disability studies. So even if you are still interested in disability studies, you will be able to apply. So disability study program is, is for those students who want to work with children with special needs like autism children and all that. Social work is one of the program. Again, I mentioned here not eligible. It's eligible for postgrad work permit. The only reason we mention it because we always tell social work students that they have to be a little bit more conscious because we have one semester, which is a third semester in the program, which is a part-time semester. So students in social work have to take one extra course in that third semester. And then of course their program will be eligible for postgrad work permit. So social work is one of the program which is in a very, very, very high demand. And the reason I'm telling you, because the social work graduates, you'll not be, believe that they make more money than a nurse. So on average, a nurse make $50,000 to $50,000 a year, whereas a social worker make 75,000 on average a year in Alberta. So there is a lot of demand of social workers. So that's why that's one of the program which we still have seats available. So if you're interested, but in this program, the other requirement is that you need to have 100 hours of social work experience from Philippines. So that's the one other requirement. If you can acquire that, it could be volunteer, it doesn't have to be paid, and then you can meet the requirement. And then we have justice program. So this is mainly focused on criminal justice, investigation, those kind of things. Again, this program is waitlisted, but again, we're going to add more seats in this program as well, and it will open up very soon. Then we have settlement studies. This is mainly for, again, a part of social worker, but this is mainly working with new immigrants. So if you want to work in a social work field, but working with new immigrants, then you apply to settlement studies. And again, we have limited seats, which means we have seats, but we have less number of seats. So you have to apply. So you can see a lot of these programs are already getting full. And each and every program, again, Filipino students can apply without an IELTS as long as you have that letter that your medium instruction is English. And each and every program here has a practicum, but they are unpaid. You don't get paid, but we will find the practicum and every student will get a practicum. It's a guaranteed placement because it's unpaid. Now coming to business program, we do have three business program: accounting technician, administrative professional, business. So in accounting technician and administrative professional, we do have certificate programs in which you will be getting some practicums as well. We have optional practicum for 1 month. In business administration program, we have four majors: accounting, finance, management, with entrepreneur focus, with business operation focus, as well as the management specialization. In business program, the very good thing is this program also gives an optional paid internship option. So it's not guaranteed you will get it. You have to apply for it. If you're selected, then after your first year in business, you can go and work for 4 months in a company and you can get a salary of $18 an hour for 4 months. So that's a great thing. You're getting education, you're getting some experience. If you get a paid internship, you will earn some money as well. Also, we have some environmental programs, environmental protection. It's a very hands-on program. And again, it helps you to know more about environmental protection technologies. And again, we have a lot of students who are applying this program, environmental protection, who have bachelors in agriculture, bachelors in biotechnology, bachelors in science. Some even have bachelors in environmental science, bachelors in civil engineering. So a lot of those students are applying for this program, and even high school students are applying. But I would say more than 90% of the students who are applying to environmental protection are students with a bachelor's degree who are applying to us. So this program also has a 4 months paid internship option. And again, it's not guaranteed that you have to apply. If company selects you, you go and work in 4 months in a company, and same thing, you get a salary of $18 an hour. Then we have another program called energy management. So this is a very unique program. Probably we are the only institution in Alberta which offers this program. So as I mentioned before that Alberta is home to oil and gas, but also Alberta right now is focusing on renewable energy. So students who graduate from this program, energy management, they will work as energy project managers, energy consultant, energy auditors. So the most of the jobs you will find is in the oil and gas. You'll also find jobs in electrical utility companies as well. So this is again a very good program for students who are applying after high school or who also are applying after a bachelor's in electrical engineering or mechanical engineering or even oil and gas petroleum engineering, and who want to work in a field of energy management. So this program also has a 4-month paid internship option. So again, student, if they're selected, they can go for 4 months and they'll get a salary of $18 an hour. The other program, which you don't see it here, I'll mention it. The other program you will see that we'll be offering starting from April, we'll have the application open, and that program will be available in January 2022. Is going to be called Machine Learning Diploma. So that's going to be another program. It will be very much focused on artificial intelligence and machine learning. So that's going to be the other program. I'm not going to talk more about it because we don't have it right now, but it's going to be offered very soon. So stay tuned for that program as well. Then we have this program called Teaching English as Additional Language. So this is a post-baccalaureate program. It's a very unique program for those students who want to become an English teacher. So we have a lot of Filipino students in this program as well. And they are mostly students who have done bachelor's in education, master's in education, a bachelor of arts in English literature, or who are teachers already in Philippines and who want to become an English teacher in Canada and teach as ESL in school, in college, or a university. So this is a very good program for those students. And this is a 1-year program. This program is going to be offered now in winter 2022. So you can definitely apply because right now we are accepting application both for September 2022 and winter 2022 because we open our application 11 months in advance. One more program I'm going to highlight is called Norquest Bridging Program. So this is program for those students who somehow don't meet our requirements. So for example, you are a student who has done English and maths in your high school, in your bachelor's, but you didn't study biology. And now you want to become a nurse. You say, I want to become a nurse, but I don't have biology. Now, what is my solution? What can I do? So there are two solutions. You can write a biology online exam. We call it online assessment exam. You can write that free from Philippines, sitting in front of your computer. And if you pass that, then you are into the nursing program. If you don't pass them, then you can do a biology when you come to Canada through the Norquest Bridging Program. So for your first or second semester, you'll be studying biology, and then afterwards you will go into the nursing program. But through the Norquest Bridging Program, what the good thing is, we will have a seat reserved for you in your target program, and we'll give you 3 to 4 semesters maximum to complete your missing part. You may complete it in 1 semester. If you don't pass it, yeah, maybe next semester you can pass it, and then you can go into your target program. Okay, so that's, I think, the way this program is designed. So it's a very good way. So even if you're not meeting admission requirements, Norquest College is not turning you away. We are giving you various ways to get into the program. Write an online exam. If you don't pass that exam, then you can do the course online. And we have various programs for Norquest Bridging Program. So we have programs for students who are coming into this are the ones who have only done 10-year high school and they didn't study anything after that. So we have some students who have said, okay, I have only done my 10-year high school. I have not done anything after that. So what is my solution now? So students who have done only 10-year high school and didn't study 2-year university after that. So those students have to provide a Duolingo test exam or an IELTS. And on top of that, they will have to do a bridging program. They will have to do grade 11, grade 12 courses, and then they will go into the target program. So that's the way this program is set up. So we give even a pathway to those students who even have just 10-year high school and who didn't study for some reason or the other after that. Okay, so now coming to admission requirement. So I already mentioned that Philippines is one of the country which we recognize as an English exempt country. So all you need to provide is a letter stating that your medium of instruction was English, and plus you must have studied 12 years. So if you study from old high school, you have studied 10 years plus 2 years after that. But if you only study 10 years and you didn't study at all, in that case, then the English language exemption does not work. Then you have to write an IELTS or TOEFL. But if you study 12 years 10 years high school plus 2-year university or the new 12-year high school, then you don't have to provide IELTS. Okay. Now, this again does not apply if you are studied 12 year in Philippines. The only program you will have to write an IELTS is pharmacy technician, which our IELTS requirement is 6.5 with no band less than 6. All other program, if you study 12 years in Philippines, you don't need to provide any English exam test. Okay, so that's pretty much what's mentioned here. Philippines, no IELTS required except pharmacy technician program. And again, we are looking for core courses like English, maths, biology, chemistry. That's the way this works. Now, a little bit coming to the application process. I'm not going to go too much into the, the depth because Gateway to Canada is our host here, and they're the ones who are going to guide you if you want to apply. They're our partner in Philippines. They can guide you how to process your application. But again, just to give you a rough idea that, all our applications are submitted through Apply Alberta. Our application fee is $150. And then, once our applications are submitted and your documents are sent via email to us, our current processing time to, issue offer letter is anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks. And then once we issue you that, then you pay a deposit of $1,000 that confirms your seat. And that's pretty much it. We don't need anything more than 1,000 until you start your program. But again, for visa purposes, of course, you can sometimes students pay 1 semester, 1 year fee, depending on what visa category you're applying. We will be needing your official transcript after we issued your offer letter. So a lot of times students, when they get an offer letter, they pay their deposit, they apply for their visa. And at the same time, they send us their official documents as well, because that is required as well. So these are our deadlines, just to give you an idea. So again, for fall intake, the deadline is June 30th. October 31st for winter, February 20th for spring semester. But just to give you an idea, due to current COVID times, the processing times and all that, we are recommending students, they should apply 4 to 5 months, at least. I would say 6 to 7 months, but a late 4 to 5 months before the start of the program is advisable. After that, I would say you'll be a little bit late for the intake. So right now is the time to apply for September, and even you should apply even right now, even for winter intake if you're looking to do that, because it's taking longer to get your study visa and all that. We do have scholarships as well. I'm not going to go into too much detail. So we have entrance scholarship, but they are only confined to few programs. So for example, in fall, we have it for Norquest Bridging Program, Community Support Worker, Environmental Protection. Again, they are not automatic scholarship. So we will look at your percentage. You should have at least 70% or more in your previous education. And you will have to write a letter when you submit your application for scholarship. So those are the 2 criteria we are looking. And then we are going to give $1,000 scholarship. So you'll get your scholarship once you complete 50% of your first semester, you'll get that. But we'll tell you, before the start of the program, if you got $1,000 scholarship or not. And then we have ongoing scholarships. So every semester in September and as well as in January, you can definitely apply for scholarship and you can get, around $2,000 or maybe $1,000 scholarship. And we give away around $50,000 or even more, $75,000 scholarships to international students. So, a lot of people have a chance to win scholarship. There is not just one $2,000. We're giving away in total around $75,000 scholarships. Okay, so that's the other thing about the scholarship. A little bit about immigration updates, just want to give you. So right now, in Canada, if anybody wants to travel to Canada right now, so before you get into the plane, you have to give a COVID test in Philippines. When you enter Canada, you have to give a COVID test on arrival. And then you have to stay in a hotel, a government authorized hotel for 3 days in Canada, waiting at your port of entry. So right now there are 4 port of entry: Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, or Calgary. So for example, if you fly from Manila to Vancouver, you land there, you give your COVID test, then you're in a hotel for 3 days in Vancouver at the airport. And then once you get your COVID negative test, then you can travel maybe somewhere else. But right now, I think the way the government is a little bit more cautious, they are saying even after 3 days, you will still stay in Vancouver for the remaining 11 days to complete your 14-day quarantine. And then you travel wherever you have to go. And right now, every student have to download ArriveCan app, which is one of the app that you will be using. And again, we have a lot of support. So I know that's maybe too much information for you, But again, you don't have to get more confused about it. All you have to do is you have to email us travel.safe@norquest.ca, and we will give you all the guidance. What are the current quarantine requirements and all that. So then you follow our instructions, and that's how you plan your travel so that you're able to safely land in Canada and do your quarantine for 14 days and then carry on with your life in Canada. Okay, so a little bit about immigration. I can a little bit talk about it because I'm myself a certified immigration consultant. So I'm going to talk a little bit about it. So I think one of the things that a lot of students are choosing to Canada right now as compared to Australia and New Zealand is immigration. So Canada is very open about it, and they're saying, well, yes, our aim is immigration through education. We want students to come as international students, study in Canada, and then acquire 1 year experience, and then they can apply through what is called Canadian Experience Class. So everybody, most of students get immigration through. Even myself, I came as an international student myself. I studied, I worked for 1 year in Canada, and I got my immigration through Canadian Experience Class. I know it's been 15 years for me, but the rules are the same. Even 15 years back when I came, and now the rules are pretty much similar as compared to the Canadian Experience Class. So that's the main way of immigrating to Canada. And just to give you a little bit idea, this is how the journey of a student is. So first of all, you choose a program. So right now you're listening to me. It means you're looking for a program. You choose a program, then you apply for your study permit, you complete your program. So any program you do with us, it will be eligible. So for example, you study 2 year diploma, you will get a 3 year work permit. If you study for 1 year program, you'll be eligible for 1 year. But if you study 1 year program, you'll be eligible for 3 year work permit. Then you apply for your postgrad work permit. Then you get 1 year experience in NOC, OA, and B. And then you give your test, which is an IELTS test. And then you apply for X%. That's pretty much a pathway of the way students get their immigration. Once you create a profile in Express Entry, then you are in the pool of Express Entry, and then you are invited to apply for immigration once you're in the pool, and you are in the pool for 1 year. And once you're invited, then you get your permanent residency. Pretty much simple as that. I think the reason, and again, this is the CLS points. So it's a immigration Express Entry is a point-based system. It's a 1200 points. And as you can see, the points varies between 470 to even 800. But I think one thing that happened recently, which has never happened, is the points have gone down to 75. So 75 point means pretty much every person who applied for immigration got immigration. Because right now, due to COVID, people cannot come from outside to Canada. So Canada is right now committed to give immigration to international students who are already in Canada. So international students are the biggest beneficiary of this, immigration policy. And you may be wondering why Canada is giving so much immigration. So the answer lies here. So Canada is looking for economic recovery through immigration. They're saying people from other countries come here, they study, they spend money, of course, and then they get jobs here, and then they give back in the form of taxes. And that's how economic recovery is going to happen. Now, the good thing for student is you are getting an opportunity to come and study, work, and settle in Canada, which not many countries are giving. And Canada has a very ambitious immigration targets. So for 2021, Canada is saying we're going to have 401,000 immigrants. For 2022, 411,000. For 2023, 421,000. So that's a lot of people. So a lot of students who are coming, they are the prime beneficiary of this increased immigration level. So I would say since till 2023, people who are in the line to get immigration will get a lot of benefit. Even beyond that, I think Canada is not going to stop immigration. In 2023, there's going to be more immigration. But this is just, we have a plan right now for 2023. And again, being in Alberta, the good thing is that you can even get on that board of immigration little earlier. So in Alberta, if you study 2-year diploma, 1-year post-diploma or certificate program, and through Alberta Express Entry, you can just need 6 months experience in your field of study, and then you can jump on the board of immigration. All you need is to have a job, and you need to have an IELTS of 5 band, and then you can jump in at 6 months. You don't have to wait for 1 year experience. And again, if you are not able to find a job in your field of study, then you can work for 1 year in another field. and which is knock O, A, and B. And then even at 300 points, you can even get called for immigration, because in Alberta Express Entry, you can be selected at lower points as compared to other places. So that's pretty much the presentation I have. And again, for us, you can connect with us at international.recruitment@norquest.ca. But again, I will say you connect with our host here, who's organizing the webinar. So they will be, of course, sharing their information with you. So you can connect with them. They have been sending us a lot of applications, and they can definitely guide you how to apply to Norquest College. And yeah, we can probably take some questions if there are any. If there are no questions, I do have a video of the Edmonton. If you think, Tin, we want to show that video of Edmonton, we can do that. Or if you want, I should say take some questions, I can do that. Whatever works for you.
Okay. Thanks, Saurabh. That was very informative. Before the Q&A, perhaps I'm going to talk a little bit about the student visa process. It's a very
Sure.
short presentation, but
Sure.
if you guys have questions, you can use the Q&A box, and later we are going to answer those questions. All right. So I'm no longer sharing my, wait, okay. Now I'm going to share my video, all right, my screen. Just a minute. Where is it? All right, there we go.
Yeah, we can see that. Yeah.
All right. So Saurabh already talked about the programs being offered by Norquest College and a little bit about the immigration pathway. I'll be focusing more with the student visa process. Right. But before that, this was also touched by Saurabh. The goal is to immigrate. Practically, almost all Filipino students who go to Canada is not going there for academic purposes, right? Mostly would want to immigrate. And the design of Canada's immigration program is basically to finalize those with Canadian education credential, with Canadian experience, and with a permanent and full-time employment. You can pretty much have all this if you go there as an international student, right? So, okay. Okay, so this is the process. Again, this is briefly touched by Saurabh. So basically, if you want to immigrate to Canada, you need to study for at least 1 year, making sure that the program you will choose is eligible for a post-graduation work permit. And ideally, you should be taking at least 2 year program, because if you take a 2 year program, then you will be entitled to up to 3 years post graduation work permit. You will make use of that 3 year period to find a permanent and full time employment, gain Canadian experience, and you will be on your way to permanent residency. As an international student, you are actually entitled to a lot of benefits. If you have spouse, you can bring your spouse, and your spouse may work full time. While you're studying, your spouse may already start working. And if you have school age kids, they can actually study for free until grade 12. And then again, after completing your program, you may then apply for a post-graduation work permit, gain the needed work experience, and then you will be on your way to permanent residency. One of the scenario that is quite possible is that while you are studying and then your spouse is already working, and if he or she gained the necessary Canadian work experience, he or she may already apply for permanent residency. There's a great chance that you haven't even finished your program, and then the permanent residency application is already on the way. So that is the advantage if you're going to go there with your spouse. Right. But this is very important, and we can't emphasize this more enough. Studying in Canada, however, is not a guarantee that you will become a permanent resident. You really need to carefully choose your program and which school you are going to. Okay, this is why it is important that if you're going to hire the services of an immigration consultant, education agent, or somebody to assist you with your immigration plans, be informed that hiring an immigration lawyer, immigration consultant is not mandatory. All the information about visa application is actually available for free by visiting Canada's official government website, canada.ca. All the information is there. But if your goal, however, is to hire somebody to guide you with your immigration plan, there's a huge difference between an education agent and immigration consultant. An education agent may sure be able to connect you with the school, assist you with your admission application and all that, but they are not in the position and they're not allowed to guide you with your immigration plan. If you are planning to hire somebody to guide you with your immigration plan, then hire an authorized immigration consultant or immigration lawyer. Now, as regards to eligibility, there is no age limit as far as the student visa application is concerned. Um, However, if you are already 45 years old, it's still possible to get the permanent residency, but it would really depend on your personal circumstances. In which province you're going to, is it easier to get permanent residency? But yeah, uh, there is no age limit. We have a student, 51-year-old, who were able to get the student visa, and they are now near to their permanent residency status. The main requirement, I would say, is the financial capacity. That's the more important than the age. No? So you need to be financially, you need to have the financial capacity to support your stay in Canada as an international student. All right. And visa processing, it's a bit longer now. Sometimes takes around 4 or 5 months, but regularly it should be between 1 to 3 months. So if you're planning to apply for September intake, I think it's still doable. If you will not waste time, if you will start as soon as possible, then you can still join the September intake as long as the program you want is still open. Okay, so how much does it cost to study in Canada? This is important because, again, like I said earlier, one of the most important thing is your financial capacity if you are going to apply for a student visa. So you need to convince the visa officer that you have at least a budget for 1 year tuition and 1 year living expenses. 1 year tuition on the average is around 600,000 pesos or 15,000 Canadian dollars for 1 year tuition. It varies from one program to another, one school to another, one city to another. But for the living expenses, Canadian government requires that you have at least 10,000 Canadian dollars or some 400,000 pesos if you're single. If you have a accompanying spouse, you need to add 4,000 Canadian dollars and 3,000 for each dependent child. How do you convince the visa officer that you have the funds? Well, the best way is to apply under the student direct stream. This is basically a priority processing stream. Simply put, to qualify under the student direct stream, you need to pay your 1 year tuition in advance. Okay, typically the school would require between 1,000 to 8,000 tuition deposit in order to issue letter of acceptance, but you have the option to pay that in advance. Of course, the question is, what if the application is refused? That is refundable, so no problem there. For your living expenses, instead of showing a bank certificate that you have so much money in your Philippine bank account, you may actually open an account in Canada through a guaranteed investment certificate program for international student. So if you do that, you are addressing your financial capacity requirements without doubt, especially if you're going to take the IELTS, because if you pay 1 year tuition, open a GIC account, and take the IELTS exam, whether it's general training or academic, you will qualify under student direct stream and your student visa will be processed faster. And one of the common reasons why an application is being refused is because of the failure to convince the visa officer that you have the financial capacity. So if you pay 1 year tuition in advance, you open an account in Canada, there shouldn't be doubt anymore as regards to your financial capacity. All right. Now, at this point, let me just share with you some of our clients who are already in Canada. Uh, our package, our services includes from admission application, student visa application, until you get the permanent resident visa application, and you will be assisted by an ICCRC registered immigration consultant, registered Canadian immigration consultant, right? And one of the common feedback from our clients is that we are very meticulous and detailed when it comes to documentation. It is because there is no personal interview. The visa officer will decide on your application based on your submitted documents. It is for this reason that we actually try to study your case carefully and review it several times before we finally submit your application to the visa office. Right? So that is a feedback from one of our clients. Right? Another feedback from our clients. Again, Miss Julia is actually a grade 12 student, graduate here in the Philippines, and she took the bachelor degree in Canada. So the ideal candidate for student visa is actually those who recently completed grade 12 program. That doesn't mean though that if you already complete a bachelor degree, it's no longer possible. It is. I'm just saying that from our experience, uh, if you're a grade 12 student graduate and you apply for a student visa, our experience is that there is a 100% approval. But for those with a bachelor degree graduate, some are still being refused. But after refiling the application, addressing the concerns of the visa officer, then they still get the visa, right? So at this point, we will be open for the questions. If there are questions already in the Q&A box, we'll be happy to answer them. And for those of you who attended the webinar and want to find out how much we charge, how much the details about all the expenses, you can sign up on the link that is flashed on the screen, gatewaytocanada.com/shine, and then you will be receiving the information via email. And if after this, if you want to talk with one of our case managers, then you can simply book an appointment through that appointment apps. All right. Tin, do we have questions?
Okay. So far we don't have any questions in our Q&A box. So if you have any questions or concerns for attendees, please feel free to enter it so that we can address your concerns.
There's a question over Facebook. Can I bring my family? That's from Miss Rada Punsalan. I guess I think it was already discussed earlier. Yes, as international student, you can bring your family with you. And in fact, your spouse may work full time and your school age kids may study for free. Okay. Another question, I think this is for Saurabh. Cam is asking about cardiovascular program or anything related program. You want to answer that, Saurabh?
Yeah, we don't have direct cardiovascular program, but I think a student who's coming from that background, they can explore our health programs, or they can explore a post-diploma program, in the mental health addiction recovery. But we don't have an exact cardiovascular. I think that's a very specialized and a niche kind of skill set. So there may be not, a very particular program in that particular field. But I think student with that background, we will have options in health, like nursing, pharmacy. They can even go in mental health, addiction recovery, healthcare leadership. So those kind of programs, I think, would be a very good match for such a student.
Okay, thanks, Saurabh. Somebody's asking about the IELTS. Or is IELTS mandatory required for Northwest
No,
College?
no. So as long as if you have studied 12 years in Philippines, and you can provide us a letter that your medium of instruction was English, no IELTS required. The only exception is pharmacy technician. All other programs, including nursing, we don't need an IELTS.
Okay, thanks, Saurabh. Okay, for those of you who still have questions, you can use the Q&A box and we will be happy to answer them. Okay, there's a private message asking about the Alberta ban with Lamia. I think it has something to do with the labor market impact assessment. I think it's in the news before that Alberta is holding the issuance of Lamia. You want to expand on that, Saurabh?
So Alberta has stopped issuing the LMIA. That's true, but it does not mean that Alberta is not giving a other. So I think right now there is a very high unemployment all over Canada, and I think that was the primary reason why they have started and stopped issuing LMIA. And I think LMIA were mainly in the job sectors, where I think they don't want to bring people from overseas. They were saying we have a lot of international students who can fill those spots. We have Canadians who don't have job, they can fill those jobs. So why we need to bring foreign workers? So I think that,
Makes sense. Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Okay. We have a question here from Mr. Jonathan. What about if you don't have an IELTS, but but you can provide a 1 year tuition fee advance and have a GIC? Okay. Mr. Jonathan, for in terms for admission purposes, if you'll be applying for Norquest, you don't need to provide an IELTS exam. You'll just gonna need to provide certification of English language as medium of your instruction from your college or university. But in terms for your visa application, you cannot apply under study direct stream since IELTS is a requirement. Even though you'll be applying or you'll be settling your 1 year tuition fee in advance and have a GIC, so still your application will be filed under study regular stream, which is about 2 months processing time. Okay.
Yeah. In addition, Tim, I think yeah, if you're not applying under student extreme because mainly because you don't have the IELTS, we still highly recommend that you pay the tuition in advance for 1 year. We still suggest, highly recommended that you open a GIC account. Although you would still be required to submit financial documents to support your financial capacity, it still tells the visa officers something. It's a huge difference between bank or funds in the Philippines compared to funds already in Canada. So that will be a huge advantage, I would say. Do you think that's okay, Saurabh?
Yeah, I think I agree. I think always it's beneficial if a student pays in advance the tuition fee, whether it's a one semester, 1 year. But yeah, I think even if they don't applying through STS, they pay 1 year fee and they do GIC. I think that is always going to help them from a financial aspect.
Yeah. Thanks, Saurabh.
We have a question from Mr. Grant. I'm a nursing graduate but didn't pursue the career. I am currently working in the bank for several years now. What course or diploma is advisable for me? Do you have, aside from the business diploma, Sarab?
Okay, so I think it depends on what kind of field. So again, as the student is saying, they have worked in the banking sector for several years. I would recommend them a business in finance because there are a lot of jobs in finance. And as I was mentioning before, finance, accounting, and entrepreneurship, like starting your own business, those are the three most popular occupations right now in business stream. And a lot of people are able to find jobs. So again, especially our program is focusing a lot on financial planning, on investment banking. So I think those kind of programs which we have a business major in finance would be a very good match because they have a banking background and the student can find job in that particular sector. But again, if they want to do something related to their health, but not exactly nursing, yeah, they can go into mental health, they can go to addiction. That's more on the counseling side. So they will be doing more rehabilitation work, working with people who have mental health issues, addiction issues, and doing counseling therapies, those kind of stuff as well. So that could be another alternative career pathway if that's what they're looking for as well.
Okay, thanks, Sarab. We have a next question from Miss Mildred. How long you'll be receiving the LOA from the school for September 2021 intake? For the processing time of
Mhm.
Norquest, I think it's around 2 to 3 weeks, right, Sarab?
Yeah, it taking right now 2 to 3 weeks. I would say I would say probably a month from now it may go down to 1 week, but right now it's 2 to 3 weeks because we have a lot of applications right now for September intake.
Okay, perfect. Um, so far we don't have any questions in the Q&A box below. So for our attendees, if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to enter it so that we can answer or address your concerns. Okay, from Mr. Jonathan, is it
Mhm.
possible that I get a program of social works, but my bachelor in field is more on business administration? Okay, actually, it is not necessary that you'll apply for a program that is related to your educational background here in the Philippines and to your work experience. You can actually take programs um, for other different field of study. You're just gonna need to justify the program to the visa officer. Why did you choose the program? Is it as long as it is career wise, and of course,
Mhm.
yeah, it really just fall down with your personal study plan on how you can justify the program.
Yeah, I agree. I think just to add on what Tina said, yeah,
Mhm.
so students with a business can apply. I think the only thing you have to keep in mind when you're applying for social work program, that you can show you have 100 hours of social work experience. That could be like working 100 hours in Red Cross or any kind of social organization, even in a hospital. You have done volunteering. So I think all we want to see that you have a passion for social work, and social work is an open program, like a business program. Like in business program, any student from any background can apply, and same in social work, student from any background can apply. But it's a very rewarding career in Alberta because we have a lot of demand in social work here in Alberta.
Thanks, Rob. Just a follow up on that, Rob. I think I read it in your slides earlier that social worker is currently not PGWP eligible. Is
Oh,
that correct?
no, no. So I think the reason we highlight it because that one semester in that program, social work, is a part-time semester. So the way the program is structured, student have to be full-time every semester to be eligible for postgrad work permit. So what we usually highlight is if you are in a social work program, just make sure you take one extra course. And again, the program area and international office is going to guide student. So once they take that extra course, then they are maintaining their full-time status in all the semesters. So that will then give them eligibility to postgrad work permit.
Okay,
So
thanks. Is that part time because of the placement or co op or something?
it's a practicum. It's a practicum. Yes, it's a
And
practicum.
that doesn't count
No,
as a course.
no, it does count, but again, you need to be taking 9 credits in that
Oh, I
semester.
see. At least three
So it
courses minimum. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I got it.
So they are taking a 7 credit practicum, so they have to take one additional course to make it to the 10 credits. So that's the only reason. Again, the program will become eligible if they add one course, and that's why we are highlighting that.
Okay. Sir Rab, Mr. Jonathan has a follow-up question. He only has a 1 year community volunteer, and that's way back 7 years ago. Is that fine or is it credited?
I think it has to be within current. Let me just give me 1 second, Jonathan. I have to just quickly go and check. I think it's in the last 5 years, but I'm
Mhm.
going to double check as you have asked me the question rather than not answering it and um, referring you to the website. I'm going to check right away and see is it within the last 5 years? Because I think Jonathan mentioned 7 years ago, right? That's what he
Right,
said.
right. 7 years.
Okay, 7 years. Okay. So just give me 1 second. I'm right now on the website and it is, yeah, it says 100 hours within the last 5 years. So it has to be within the last 5 years.
Okay, follow up to that, sir. Even if you completed a social work degree here, you're a registered social worker, but without experience, you still strictly need that 1 year experience. Okay.
Not 1 year. It's just 100
Oh,
hours.
100 hours, sorry. 100
So it
hours.
is, yeah. So it can be done, and it don't have to be paid. It can be unpaid. I think the requirement is that the student have to fill a form, or sorry, the employer where they work, they have to fill the form,
I see.
and
So,
they have to send that to admissions office.
okay, so that would mean those bachelor or registered social workers, typically they are required to do some OJTs on the job training program. Does that count to the requirement?
Yeah, I think it does count. I think what the main criteria is that that student must have 100 hours of that completed under a supervisor, and they are related to healthcare setting, working in a health profession act, or a human service agency, or a
Mhm.
social service agency. And I think it says, the practicums, yeah, could be counted. I'm not saying it's not going to be counted.
Okay.
And it could be volunteer that they have done, so it doesn't have to be paid, or it could be a paid work as well. So they are entertaining both paid as well as the volunteer.
Okay. Looks like it will be one of the hottest program for Norquest. Okay, Tin, do we have more questions?
Okay. We have a question from Mr. Romil. Good day. Just want a clarification. If I am a graduate of 10 plus the college degree I took, I am not included for the wave IELTS. Okay.
Yeah, they are. So if you have done a 10-year high school plus a college degree, which is 4 years, so 10 plus 4 becomes 14. So if you have studied 14 years in Philippines, then yes. I think the only people who don't get IELTS are the people who just did 10-year high school and didn't study anything after that.
Yes.
But those grade 10 graduates without college degree, they can do the bridging program, right?
Yes, they can do the
Okay.
bridging program. Yeah.
And the bridging program is eligible for a post-graduation work permit?
Yes, no, not the bridging itself, but bridging is a combined offer letter. So, for example, if a
Yeah,
student is doing
bridging
the
plus the diploma.
yeah, so the bridging is like 2 semesters and then the diploma. So it becomes like instead of 4 semesters, it becomes a 6 semester program.
All right, clear.
Okay. We have a next question from Miss Maritas. Sir Apple, I'm an undergraduate of Hotel Restaurant Management for 2-year course, but now I'm working in tracking services as assistant manager. What course or diploma is advisable for me?
I would suggest business diploma, but what do you think, Saurabh?
Yeah, I would say also business diploma. Again, a student who's coming from hospitality background, I would recommend them management because we have entrepreneurship, we have business operations focus. So if they want to go and work in a service sector, business operation is a good focus within the management. So yes, that will be the program that they should apply business.
All right, thanks. Then do we have more questions?
We don't
Or
have.
shall we wrap it up?
Okay. We have a
Oh,
follow-up
last
question
question. Okay.
with Richard. I'm a graduate of Bachelor of Arts and finishing my MBA. Okay.
Mhm.
Your concern, Mr. Richard?
Okay, so they're finishing MBA. Okay, in Philippines.
Okay. For IELTS exemption, as long as I think the IELTS waive for Norquest is for the Filipino students, right, Saurabh?
Yeah, yeah. So if a student has done a Bachelor of Arts in Philippines, yeah, they are waived. And if they're doing an MBA, yes, then also it's waived in Philippines as well. Again, if they're doing overseas in English-speaking country like US, UK, Australia, yeah, if they have studied 3 years in these English-speaking countries, then also they are waived. But I think they don't have to worry about overseas. If they
Mm.
have done bachelors in Philippines, yeah, they are waived.
Okay, perfect. Do you have any last final remarks, Saurabh? If I think before we wrap it up
Sure.
for the
Yeah,
webinar.
yeah, yeah. I would say the final remark I would say is I think a lot of students sometimes are taking too much time to apply. So I would say right now is the best time to apply for September and even winter 2022 because right now the COVID is still not gone. I know, but still we are seeing a lot of influx of applications. It's taking a lot of time to get visa. So if you're planning to travel overseas to study in Canada this year or the next year, I think right now is the time to plan because there's so many people applying. So if you don't plan now and you wait another year, I think your plans will get more delayed even. So I think that's one thing I will suggest at last is plan right now and apply right now for the program.